Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Life with Nana. I'm Nana, and I'm so glad you're here today. Today, I hope you'll come along with me as we just piddle around and see what we can get into. We are expecting a pretty heavy frost and some cold weather in probably a week or two. So I wanted to come out and get some of these rose petals, and I'm going to get them off the back of the bush so that it doesn't really hurt how the bush really looks. And I'm just pulling them off and putting them in my little bag here. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to freeze dry these, and I will put them in with my tea blend. And after it comes a really good heavy frost, I will come back in a few days, and this part of the plant or of the rose is called the rose hip. And most of the time after it kind of comes a frost, those will turn kind of a reddish color. And if they do that, then I will harvest some of those also. I already have 3 trays ready to go in my freeze dryer. I have some lasagna that we made. I'm going to freeze dry what was left of that. And I have some peppers, and I don't know what else is in there, but I have three trays filled up. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get some of these harvests to fill up one more tray, and I'm going to get my rosemary and I'm going to fill up a tray with that. So I'm just trying to get the ones that we can still enjoy the bush, you know. So let's walk over here to this other bush. All right, so I'm gonna get some of these off the back. These are really beautiful, fragrant, they smell good. And I like these in tea. Gives the tea a nice color. These have not been sprayed with any kind of pesticide or anything, so I'm not worried about anything like that. I've used them a bunch of times in my tea mix. Now, if you don't have a freeze dryer, you could always put these on a dehydrating pan or in the lowest setting of your oven. If your oven will go down to about 100 degrees, I wouldn't go any further than that. My oven will only go down to 170, and that's just not low enough. So that feels like a pretty good bag full. I'll get a few more. I don't want the ones that are already kind of spent, you know, they've already bloomed and they're ready to go away now. But in a few weeks we won't have any of these. They won't be blooming. So I thought it was a good time to come out and harvest a few. And I have a pretty good bag, so we're going to let that be enough. And we're going to walk back over to the rosemary, and I'm going to get that. I think I left my other bag over there. So I just have it in a small container here, and I'm going to take probably about 2/3 of this. And that will be enough to go on my freeze dryer tray. Ooh, it smells so wonderful. See and look at this. I'm not sure what kind of that plant that is. The birds planted it, but the bees and wasps sure have been loving it. Okay, so it might be a little loud out here. Our freeze dryer is in the garage, and you have to turn it on and let it cool down the chamber for 15 minutes. So while I'm waiting on it to do that, I just need 2 of these trays. I have 3, and mine holds 5. And I'm just going to take these beautiful, fragrant rose petals, and I'm just going to put them on one. And if I have one tray that is filled nicely, and then the next tray I'm going to put the rosemary alongside the extra rose petals that I have. And I didn't wash these. These have not been sprayed with anything. I don't think the bugs were interested in these. They might have in these. But I think all the bees were over there on that other plant that I hope I got to show you. That came from a bird planting it. And when it first came up, I thought it looked like corn. So I said, oh, let's just leave it and see what it does. Well, it wasn't corn. I'm not real sure what it is. But boy, the yellow jackets and bees and honeybees and wasps, they love it. So we'll just kind of avoid that area and let them get whatever they're needing off of that before winter comes. All right, so I had to change my oil in my pump this morning, and Papa helped me do that. And so we're ready to go. And I had in the freezer, and this is typically how I do it, I will have one whole set of trays ready to go. So I have 2 trays of peppers. And then 1 tray of lasagna. I'm not going to take the lasagna cover off yet. So I'll bring you back in a minute when the chamber has cooled off. Alright, so the chamber has cooled for 15 minutes, and I need to turn my vacuum thing there, turn that little gauge so everything is nice and sealed up. Now, if you have a freeze dryer and you have a problem with it creating a vacuum, the first thing to check is this rubber seal around your door. And I just always try to pull mine out just a little bit. Now I'm going to put the lasagna right in the middle. And then we're going to do peppers above and below. And I don't know why I think it needs to be done this way, but I just feel like that this is the way I want to do it this time. I'm going to put these in right on top. We're going to close our door. We're going to check for a little line all the way around. I have one, so I'm good there. And I'm going to hit continue. And it's going to tell me that it's freezing. Now this is going to take a couple of days for this to get freeze dried. Sometimes it takes 2 days, sometimes it takes a little more than 2 days. And I know that like the rose petals and the herbs will be finished before the lasagna gets finished. I have never had a problem doing it that way. I've never had a problem with smells transferring or taste transferring, because this is, right now it's at 41 degrees. In 10 minutes it's going to be below freezing. So everything's going to be frozen solid. And I'll have some nice things to add to my tea mixture. So let's go inside and let's get this Sloppy Joe mix mixed up. So I saw this Sloppy Joe mix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up, and then in the coming weeks I can make some Sloppy Joe. So let me get my apron. I forgot my tomato powder. So now you don't have to use this, okay? I happen to have tomato powder that I freeze dried and from the tomatoes we grew in the backyard. But you do not have to have this ingredient. You can use, you can take these ingredients, make up your mix, and then add just cans of tomatoes if that's what you have. Alright, so I'm going to triple this and we'll see how much we get. So the first ingredient is a tablespoon of minced onions. And so I'm going to do 3. I'm just going to put it right in my jar. Let's go ahead and do it 4 times. I'm always changing my mind. 1 teaspoon of salt. Remember, you're only using a little bit of this. So this looks like a ton of salt, and it is a lot of salt, but we're not going to use all of this in one recipe. Cornstarch, a tablespoon, so I'm going to 4 times that, so 4 tablespoons. You could also use arrowroot powder if you don't want to use cornstarch. And then a teaspoon of garlic. So I'm going to do 4. And then 1/4 teaspoon of chili. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon. And then 1/4 teaspoon of dried mustard. So I'm just going to use, again, a teaspoon. I like these mixes a lot, and I like the fact that I know what's in them, and they don't have a lot of junk in them, you know, so I've been really enjoying this because I've been really stocking my pantry real well. Alright, I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of my tomato powder in here. I can add more when it comes time to use this if I want to. And again, if you don't have this, just leave this out and you can use your just canned tomatoes in your mix. Alright. We're just going to shake this up really well. Stir it up a little bit. Smells wonderful. And I'm going to get a little piece of this freezer tape and put on my lid and write on that Sloppy Joe mix. And there's another thing to go on our shelf. I love that so much. So when I get ready to cook supper, I will bring you back and you can hang out with me while I do that. Okay, so we're ready to get some supper going here. Now yesterday I cooked a pot of, we just call them white beans, but it's probably navy beans or something like that. And I cooked those in the Instapot. I had a ham bone that had some meat still on it, and I put that in there. And I put some chicken stock, and I pressure cooked them for an hour and 10 minutes. And then I just put them on low, like on the slow cook option of my Instapot, and let them cook until we were ready for supper. So they were really good and done. And I also, yesterday, I laid out some sweet potatoes that I had baked in the oven. These were some that we had grown in the tubs in the backyard when we actually were just growing them for the vines to be pretty. But we wound up with some really pretty potatoes. So I baked all of them up and put them in the freezer. So I stuck one of those in the refrigerator. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn my stove on, and we're going to get some onions. I have one medium onion here. And I have some of that roasted garlic that I did way back. And you've probably seen me in a couple of videos using it. And I'm just going to let this kind of warm up and let the onions get translucent. I'm going to go ahead and put some salt on my onions. That helps to draw out the liquid and helps them to get translucent a little quicker. Papa has been gone this afternoon. He had to take his mom, Mama, y'all remember her from the 100 Ears of Corn episode. She had to go to the doctor today. So he just called and said he's on his way back home. And so I'm getting supper kind of started. And what we're having is leftovers from yesterday. And we call this Polish sausage, or it's kielbasa. So I've got that cut up. And I just cut it up into, little rounds. And when this gets done cooking and gets translucent, then I will add that in and let that get some brown on it. And as soon as I feel like that's cooked enough, this is smoked, so it's already been, cooked. But we want to put some brown on it, make it taste even better. And then we'll add in, I have a bag of angel hair slaw, and so I'm going to add that in. We're going to cook that together. That'll go really good with the beans and the sweet potatoes. And I think there's even a little of the pasta that we had left from the spicy tomato basil soup that we made together. So I am trying really hard to kind of move from, say, fast food or already prepared food over to things that I cook. I typically cook a lot anyway, but we're trying to cut out some sugar. We're not we're not going crazy, but cut out some sugar. Kind of cut out some of the bread. Since I had gotten a couple of different sourdough starters, I've been making quite a bit of bread. And so I'm going to have to cool it on that for a little while. And I'll just keep my starter fed once a week. I'll take it out of the refrigerator and I'll feed it. And I'll just let it do its thing on the counter and then put it right back in there. And we'll keep it going and until I decide I want to make bread again, right? So nothing drastic. We're just going to make a couple of changes. We have a gym membership, and it doesn't cost us anything to go to the gym. And we're going to start going over there and walking on the treadmill. And they have some classes, and I enjoy doing the classes. They have a morning class with a lot of ladies, and I enjoy that class. So I will probably start back doing that pretty soon. Try to get our minds on positive things, and instead of just sitting here in front of the TV or, you know, eating junk food and vegging out and doing all that stuff. So if you've ever fought with depression, anxiety, and that sort of thing, you know that this comes in waves. Grief, that comes in waves. So you may feel pretty good one day, and the next 2 or 3 days you may feel just terrible. And that's why I always say at the end of my videos, I'm proud of you if you got up and you did something today, because I know the world is a harsh place. It's hard to get up and go and do what you need to go do. And so I have battled depression most of my adult life, and anxiety has come on more recently. And so it's just one of those things that you have to every day tell yourself, okay, today we're going to get up and we're going to cook a meal and we're going to take a shower and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and and we're just going to take it one little step at a time until we get back in the bed at night, right? So we're just cooking these, and I didn't add any extra butter or anything. I just put a little bit of olive oil in there. I'm going to add my kielbasa and spread it out in this pan. That's why I'm using this big pan. I want to spread this out so that it will brown nicely. We're going to get this going. And I'm about ready to add the cabbage. And the cabbage will create some liquid. I do want to see if I can get this to brown just a little bit more. This is a good country meal. I think we were talking about taking small steps to help you in whatever journey you are on right now. Just take 5 minutes in the morning and set your mind and your determination to what you're going to achieve for that day. The 5 minutes to get your mind right. If you're a believer, get in the Word and really, just do your devotion. And all right, let's get the cabbage put in this. And I'm also going to put just a little bit of chicken broth to deglaze the pan underneath this cabbage. Yeah, that's going to work out wonderful. Now we're going to add a little more salt so that our cabbage will start wilting down and everything will look beautiful. But I think it's a good idea to just take a few minutes every morning and try to figure out, what do you want from today? So I have to talk myself into different things. Like, some days I just want to sit in my chair and watch an old TV show or something. But I have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go and make up the bed. And I get that done, and then, okay, well, now I need to put a load of clothes in the washer. And I get that done, and I need to load the dishwasher, or turn the dishwasher on. And one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you've accomplished quite a bit of things just by setting that intention. So anyway, I'm rambling. I know I am. But this is almost done. The cabbage has wilted down, and it looks and smells wonderful. So I'm just going to cut this off, and I will bring you back when we are ready to plate this up. Well, okay, everybody. We've got a lot accomplished today. We got the freeze dryer oil changed. We've got the stuff put in the freeze dryer. Daily chores done. We have fixed supper, and Papa is home now, and he is starving, so we are going to try this. And we also got this mix made, this Sloppy Joe mix, that we'll be proud to put on our pantry shelf. So I want a taste of these sweet potatoes because I put these up about a month ago, and I want to see if they're good. Y'all, those are so good. This is a terrific way, if you live in a place like we do that it's hard to keep potatoes and things like that. This is a great way to do it. So good. Let's try a little bit of this cabbage. Wonderful. We keep this around, the kielbasa and the slaw mixes. We keep that on hand just about all the time because this is so quick and easy. I know these beans are fabulous because I had those yesterday. So listen, guys, I want to tell you, remember Nana loves you. Remember how proud I am of you, and that you always have a friend here. I'll see you on the next one.